all right. Young Justice Season 4, 24. We got self 2 4s in this episode, but that's not the point here. This episode was another, at least I would say another enjoyable episode of Young Justice, because a lot of stuff happened. I mean, everything's coming together, and let's just get into it. So
yeah, it was a million times better than last episode. That's for sure.
Yes, the last episode seems like everyone was disappointed with last episode. So
I don't know. Last episode skipped a beat. Like this one picked up where it should have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But I want to start off with, especially because we were talking about one of the biggest issues you had with last episode was the whole McGann not knowing. Yeah. So I kind of want to discuss this now with a plot line where we have McGann, Superman, Black Lightning, Green Lantern Forager, and essentially this new person named Danny Chase, who's the Kaiser Zone or something like that.
Kaiser Thrall. Yeah, there we go. And how that plot winds up coming, because at first when I saw this, I thought this was going to be like, I kind of knew the fact McGann was there. At some point she was going to figure out the whole Superboy thing, but I was worried it was just going to be them kind of like going over the whole, because Kaiser Thrall is a human, that they were just going to go over his emotional trauma, and then at the end they were going to be like, oh, by the way, Connor's at the Phantom Zone, and then it's like a cliffhanger. But I'm glad they literally moved it forward with Phantom Girl kind of being like, yo, I tried to save Connor, and now and we get to see how Phantom Girl, like my question of could Phantom Girl just go back to the Phantom Zone, we finally get that question answered with, no, it's not as easy as we think it is. Yeah, so that's something I predicted as well. Like that's something I said in one of the previous reviews. But yeah, I think you would feel that I have slight issues with this. I mean, I really, really enjoyed this episode, and I thought everything about it was logical and sound. But I still really don't like that they didn't communicate it to McGann. I feel like a lot of this could have been avoided if they had just told McGann. Like everyone else seems to be okay with her knowing, and she's not like... I don't know. I still find it weird, but it's okay. I'll leave that, because that's a gripe with the previous episode, not this one.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a gripe with the previous episode.
Yeah, but given that happened, everything that happened in this episode was good.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing about that. I also liked how they were very, like you said, they were very clever. Like once they figure out that the Phantom Zone would have Kryptonians, they're like, okay, if we let Connor out, we gotta let him out in a planet that doesn't have a red sun. So I'm like, I'm glad they smart that, because my biggest fear was like they're gonna let him out, and then it's like we got a bunch of Supermans fighting each other, and it's like, oh snap. So
yeah, although that would have been epic as hell, like I'm glad they actually did it the smart way.
Yeah, so that was very nice. As well as, we had Superman there, which is important for Superman to be there. So that plays into a role that's going to be played in the future with this, and that he was able to trust in Phantom Girl. So, which you can understand why, especially last season, why Black Lightning's like, oh man, I hate when people hide secrets. That was what caused the whole Batman thing. So you can see his little issue there.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Yeah, but I'm also glad that the Kaiser Thrall gets played, because there was a question with that flashback or the ending credits with the Kaiser Thrall being like, is this going to be important? And people are like, nah, it's not that important. So I'm glad they actually found a way to make it important with the plot.
Yeah, I predicted it wouldn't be that important, but just because like it's an end credit scene, and so far every end credit scene has, besides that one, has like not really played much into the actual story.
Yeah.
So this one was an exception, which was cool.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, that was mainly my main things with the McGann plot line, mainly just seeing how Phantom Girl tried to help McGann, as well as just her and everything going on there.
I feel like one thing that sort of bothers me a little bit is that the Legion had no like secret code. Like, had they not thought about the fact that maybe someone might take their rings? And I don't know, in a superhero world, I just feel like you got to take all the precautions as you can.
Yeah, and it's now that you're bringing that plot line, I guess we can go to the Lor-Zod. Yeah,
Yeah, I just love how he was already just like skeptical about, okay, there's a no other legion. What's going on here? We need to figure that out. Like he's just, again, I just love how smart he is right there. And then they figure out the plan of, oh, eventually we can just deceive them with the Mafala Hawk. Oh my God, I can't even say his name right. McGann's brother can just deceive them, pretending he is one of the legions. So that really was an interesting thing.
Yeah, that was smart.
Yeah, very smart. And I was kind of confused with the first scene because at first I was like, because the way the timeline was, I was like, wait a minute, is this in the present where not General Zod, Lor-Zod goes and we see Tomar 2, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, is this the present? Because I thought this guy was dead. And then I was like, maybe this is his son, because he mentions the whole, I hope you have the same fate as your father. But then I went back and I go, oh, okay, it makes sense. Now I see this was just a flashback. So
was it a flashback?
Yeah, it's a flashback.
Oh, I thought it was in present time.
Because it wouldn't make sense because Lor-Zod the whole time was with he had to look over the team the whole time, right? Because they're traveling in that
That's true. Shit. That makes sense.
So, yeah, at first I was confused. I thought it was the present, and then I realized, oh, okay, it's a flashback. That was that being played. And and again, that was a good bet because eventually they all, they found out a boom tube that can help them open the Phantom Zone, which I didn't know boom tubes can do that.
Well, I think it's only because the Kaiser Thrall was helping. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. Because they mentioned in the episode that the Kaiser Thrall has the ability to like dimensional abilities, I guess. That's how they described it. So
okay, that makes sense. Funny enough, when they said they needed a mother box, I thought they were going to bring Halo. I was okay, Halo's finally going to be useful.
Me too. That's what I thought, but I guess not.
Yeah. No Halo.
Man, honestly, I don't even mind. I'm like, bring Orion back? Sure, no problem. I think I'd rather see him than Halo at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, Halo. We got our resolve with Halo last episode, so we don't need more Halo. But it would have been cool for her to be more used to the main plot as opposed to just, being sort of a distraction.
Yeah, her character has turned into just a distraction instead of like serving any purpose in the story.
Yeah, that's at least for this season. For this season, that's what's going on.
Yeah, for this season.
But I guess now we can talk about the main plot with our team trying to rescue Connor. How do you feel about that rescue mission?
I mean, it was fine. Like, there's nothing. It wasn't like great, but it also wasn't like, I don't know. It's all Connor's mind, really. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have known that his mind was shattered that badly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they would have if they had McGann, but.
Did you think they found Connor too fast? Because it just seemed like they were able to find Connor like the exact area that he was in, like, just seemed little too convenient.
Interesting. Maybe you're right, but I don't mind that because it like helps move the story forward faster.
Exactly. Just move the plot.
Oh man, that's unfortunate though. You didn't have your Wally theory happen.
Exactly. That would have been cool. It would have been cool to see that. I mean, don't get it twisted. Yeah, I guess the one thing we can make the argument is that since Zatanna's there, I guess Zatanna can help find the spirit quicker. So maybe that's partially. But it just seemed way too like, okay, they're there already. Like, dang, like,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it might have been a good idea to, I don't know, practice in the Phantom Zone a little bit.
Yeah.
Since the time is different, so they could have probably, I don't know, spent some time. Yeah, you're right. There's definitely some potential there. So I guess it was a little slightly rushed, but
yeah,
I guess for what it was, I didn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I'm totally against it because again, I did love how you see how these Kryptonians are even beating them, even though they don't even have superpowers. So it's like. That's one thing I liked about that. As well as, I guess we get to understand Connor's reasoning why he's with Zod, because I feel like it seemed like originally, or at least the impression I got from it, was that he just felt like, he's just, like, it's almost like he's almost like he just is a pure slave. That's what I got. But now, the perspective I'm getting from Connor is, hey guys, I'm just a soldier. Like, I was born to be a soldier, guys. So this is the reason why I'm doing this. So it's almost like, he's not just complete, at least the impression I got from it, it seems like it's not just him being like, oh, I'm a complete mind control slave for Zod, but more of like, I'm a soldier, this is what I should be doing. kind of framework.
I feel like it was because he thought he killed Superman.
That's another thing also.
And
That's
that sort of shattered his mind like at that moment.
Yeah.
And then also like worrying that he's going to hurt McGann.
Yeah.
Because he killed Superman.
Yeah.
Who's someone he cares about. So
yeah.
I think those two factors in his mind were the primary things that made him like close off his memories or ties to like his old friends and everything that happened basically. So yeah, I think he's just defaulting to his original state before he met, Robin.
Yeah, the team.
Calder. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it because I was worried that it was sort of like this kind of, I don't want to say like, I mean, not completely mind control, but like it's almost like he's not completely himself anymore. But it's more of it's an active decision than as opposed of like something where it's just some psychological illusion.
Yeah, I mean, I think now that he's out, it'll be a lot easier to help him.
Yeah.
They just need to get him to a yellow sun, otherwise it looks like he's dying.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. That was someone brought this up that I read on a YouTube comment where it's like, because of the scratches he got in the Phantom Zone, they don't hurt him in the Phantom Zone, but in the real world it'll hurt him. So now we get to see that effect, because I didn't understand that, but now seeing that he went out, we could see him completely hurt from all the scratches. It's like, dang.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. If you were to die in the Phantom Zone or like something attacks you to the point where you should be dead, then the moment you leave, you're doomed.
Yeah.
Unless you have some sort of blue lantern there to help you when you get out. But they need to get him to yellow sun basically. Yeah,
they definitely need to. And there's that. And then I like the man, I just love how, for example, he's coming out with General Zod's coming out with Connor, but Lor-Zod hates Connor. So this is very an emotionally conflicting moment where and from my understanding, I'm assuming General Zod doesn't even know who Lor-Zod is because that's his son and he never had a kid yet. So it's gonna be a very interesting thing where it's like your father's with the person you hate the most and probably treats that person like treats that person you hate as a son. So it's going to be a very emotionally conflicting.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it really depends on what they do. Like, that's a very interesting idea, but like if they just leave Connor on the ground like that, then it's not going to play out that way.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I still think there is that emotional confliction of like, why are you with this person kind of thing, and it's like, well,
until I see him say that, I can't just imagine that. I'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see on that, and then the team kind of backing away from Connor, and they have to figure out a new plan. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't think maybe we should have brought McGann at this point, because McGann would have solved that whole.
Yeah, like I said last review, like they did it for plot reasons, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like Nightwing's reason is just, dude, the guy from Mars is so level-headed. I'm just gonna tell him again. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things for sure. But again, I just love that everything is now coming together. Like now that portal leads to a world where there's no sun, and then those Kryptonians are out, and then our main people are out. So everything's coming together in this next episode, and we have 2 more episodes. So we have episode 25 and episode 26. So we're gonna really see how this wraps up. But
yeah. I find it interesting how like Lor-Zod just brought out Impulse, or I guess the new Kid Flash.
Yeah, Bart.
So it's like, why bring him out? It seems kind of weird just to step on him and like be like, yo, father, check me out, I'm dope. But I feel like it has to play into the story somehow, and just like Kid Flash is gonna do something. I hope, because now he's with everyone else, and then the 2 Legionnaires are still inside the ship. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now I really feel like the Kryptonians are kind of outnumbered. Like there's really, I mean, obviously they have the only person that who can help them is McGann's brother. That's the only useful person I could see, but everyone else is just a bunch of soldiers. So, but who knows, man?
Yeah, I mean, they have basically the Kaiser Thrall is OP. Honestly, it's like able to hold everyone.
Yeah.
But if McGann can help Danny, I was assuming he didn't get like completely vaporized by Macomb, then yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And then I don't understand. I mean, I guess McGann's brother is just so much of a dick, but he just had to kill Danny Chase like that. He just went in and it's like, I need to kill you. Bam. I'm like,
yeah, it looked that way, but I feel like he's still, he is the Kaiser Thrall, so I don't think he's dead. It's just he probably fell asleep or something, or like the part of the Kaiser Thrall that is controlled by Danny isn't there, and then now it's being like influenced by Macomb.
Okay,
that's my theory. I mean, if he actually died, oh my, that sucks.
I forgot. Is the other Martian with them, the Red Martian with them, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I was about to say, because I think the only thing that's stopping McGann with Connor would be her brother.
Maybe, but I believe McGann should be a lot stronger, or at least stronger in general.
Yeah, but like, I guess my question would be, like for her to try to fix Connor is going to take a while, psychological thing. So if her brother's always coming down there, it's like...
Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be definitely a distraction. But yeah, I think that's about it that I want to say about this episode. And again...
Yeah, it's a solid episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the climax, which was the ending, is pretty dope.
Yes, man. It's made me really hyped to see what's going to happen next. But I guess we can start reading the comments, which we have a lot. Because people really hated.
Yeah, we might have to like not read every single one of them. So sorry if your comment isn't mentioned.
Yeah, I might just avoid reading the comments that you already answered, to be honest. All right, so Kendall says, and I'm just gonna summarize it for the most part, is he basically was talking about how the show kind of shows how Nightwing's leadership has progressed, because they've kind of hinted that Nightwing will be the one who's supposed to lead the team, but since he was young, it was kind of hard for him to take that burden. So we're kind of seeing the changes of his progression with him leading the team throughout the seasons. Although I would argue that his leadership in this episode wasn't, I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't as strong as I would want it.
Yeah, like I think there were a fair amount of comments that talked about how Nightwing, this isn't really his arc,
Yeah.
Like the focus is not really going to be on him.
Yeah.
Like AC Dub said that Nightwing was done worse in this episode than Rocket was in her arc, because I mean, this is a slight joke, but after everything he did to tie the plot together, he gets carjacked, snackjacked, and barely any screen time. And honestly, he didn't really get that much screen time in this episode either.
I agree. That was probably my only big gripe of this episode, that I felt that Nightwing... I mean, this is not even called Nightwing's arc. I don't think we should call it Nightwing's arc. We should just call it Connor's rescue arc. That's what it is.
Yeah, like Nightwing doesn't really have a focus at all. He's just sort of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's made some bad calls. Honestly, I think his leadership is not the best. I disagree with his call with McGann a lot, if you haven't noticed.
Yes. Scott Summers says, I get why they didn't tell McGann. They didn't tell her as they didn't want to get her hopes up as she lost her loved one. However, I think they're using the same theme in season 1, which is secrets, which mainly is for dramatic purposes until they reveal to McGann.
I mean, they kind of just revealed it to her this episode, like in a very not nonchalant way, but like it wasn't that dramatic,
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh yeah, I don't want to raise your hopes up, but he might be alive. Like literally, Nightwing could have said the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, again, as much as I don't agree with that decision, I definitely could see the angle of making sure, like, just making like, not, your friend telling a friend that someone's dead, and then like, I could see where they're coming from, but again, it just wasn't the best move.
Yeah. And then there's some comments about like last episode, specifically about the ambassador scene, or the scene that I talked about that I really hated.
Really?
Sidma said like, I think the conversation went south because of the ambassador was sending out psychic waves to influence them.
Okay.
Yeah, I commented back saying like, I thought like, he, in order to really have a strong influence, he has to touch them. At least that's what the episode conveyed. But people mentioned in season 3 he was manipulated without touching him to become king. But yeah, it's very interesting. How strong is his abilities? Did he also influence Halo, who is like partially a mother box? like how strong is this guy's abilities? I'm sure it will be brought up again in the future once they decide to close that arc with Brion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we don't really know his extent of his powers, so yeah, I agree on that. Mike C said this episode, referring to episode 23, was a setup to wrap the season, which was always been a weird juxtaposition of adventure / slice of life coming of age. It's been a bit clunky as it was rushed. However, the major update from season 3, which had more slideshows than animation. In my opinion, this series had ambition of cramming so much content and characters into the season, giving overall lighter feeling, quality over quantity. Is it what Marvel's been doing for a while? I hope the producers can use successfully to make a plea with HBO for further seasons. I don't know. I mean, if you saw the Magic arc, I feel like the Magic arc had a lot of slideshows. So I really feel like, I mean, we'll wait till the season ends. But to me, I almost feel like these season 3 and season 4, both equally, the quality in my eyes are both equal in some ways.
Yeah. Okay. The Crimson Adventurer. This is a lot about the previous episode, which isn't that great, but let's just get it out of the way. Crimson Adventurer said that he liked the Brion stuff, and he thinks Fury is immune to the Ambassador. Otherwise, why doesn't he control her? Just a great question. Exactly. We just got to figure out the extent of his powers. And I'm going to also read out another one. Koroogami said that with the way the previous episode played out, it feels like we're in season 3 and not 4. He doesn't mind the character development, but he just wished it happened in a different season, since we're supposed to be focused on the OG gang. Yeah, I definitely agree with the sentiment, but even this episode wasn't that focused on the OG gang.
Yeah.
It would have been more if your theory came to light with Wally being in the
Exactly.
them hallucinating Wally in the Phantom Zone, stuff like that. If they spent more time with them in the Phantom Zone, yeah, definitely would have been more of an OG gang type of episode. Honestly, they should have just cut last week's episode and then focus more of them being in the Phantom Zone. That would have been way better.
Yeah, because for me, it just seems like they adapt to the Phantom Zone so quickly, while Connor just had a hard time adapting to it.
That's true, but he also spent a shit ton of time in there.
That's fair. That is also fair. That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, Tevye also said that this was probably the last episode was one of the weakest in the season. Yeah.
Gonna read 2 more. So I like this one, Little Red. I gotta be honest, I didn't really care about any of these characters or their interactions anymore, except for a few. I was just waiting for Jason Todd to be revealed at this point, if they even ever gonna get around to it. Yep, man. Unfortunately, I think Jason Todd is just a cameo dude in this series. I don't think they're ever gonna go into that plot, unfortunately.
They have to, dude. No way. If they're doing another season, I guarantee Red Hood will play a bigger part in it.
I want to believe that, but then the way that the Artemis arc ended with the whole rehabilitation center, it just seems weird for him to be in a rehabilitation center and then he's just this weirdo or this wacko or whatever. So I feel like he's gonna be more mentally stable.
There's gotta be. There's so much potential there. Under the Red Hood, that Batman movie was one of my favorites.
It is
all time.
It is.
And
I agree.
There's no way they don't use Red Hood more.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just skeptical after this season, but I doubt it. I just feel like it was just a cameo to see, hey, look, we have Red Hood, but we're not gonna play that storyline. And then Rot Tommy says, maybe it's just me, but the Halo part of the episode bugs me because she's going to be Muslim, so she can't be with Harper. It doesn't work. She would need to pick one or the other. 2, her and the Brion scene was kind of weird because it was a jarring shift in the mood. Other than that, I'm saddened by how Phantom Girl just left Connor there. Yeah, she had no choice, but I mean, that's a good point about the whole religion thing. How does that affect her religion? That's almost kind of a, I guess, contradiction. I don't know much about the Muslim religion, so I can't really say for sure, but it does sound like a contradiction, so.
I do want to mention this comment though. Shock to your system, Static Shock right there.
Oh, okay.
The guy on the right side, always cutting the other guy off and using sarcasm, LOL. The guy on the left is a yes man, speak your mind, bro. I found this comment interesting. this is like us revealing some behind the scenes stuff, but like we record things in Zoom, and our recording isn't always like synced up in terms of like, because sometimes the Zoom call lags. So when someone says something and pauses for like a second, and then the other person talks, it actually might be talking at the same time. So it's a little weird. And whenever I do the edits, like I try to avoid that, but it sometimes is hard to do that. That's just one reason why sometimes you hear a lot of cutting each other off, is just because like we think the other person has paused and we start talking, but that's not actually the case.
Yeah, I guess from my point of view, since he's talking about me being the left guy, I will admit that when I don't have a strong opinion on something, I kind of go with the flow, and I do have a habit of just saying, yeah, But for the most part, trust me, when I have a strong opinion, it's the other way around. It's just when my opinion's less strong, and not to mention I'm not as good at speaking articulate as Scott when it comes to YouTube. I tend to be a little bit more reserved. So that's probably the reason why it comes off like that as well.
I think you're pretty articulate.
I can be. Is it sometimes like, I may speak and I mispronounce words and stuff like that. So it holds me back from actually speaking properly.
I see. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I do cut off during even real life conversations, but it's just like when you talk to your friends, I feel like that's just what happens sometimes, like especially when you're passionate about a subject.
Yeah, when you're passionate, that's what it is. It is what it is when you're passionate. Yeah, that's what it comes down
dude,
to.
And we are friends, so I personally don't mind if you cut me off. Cut me off as much as you want. Like I really don't mind. Okay. Especially when you're passionate. I'm just like, tell me your thoughts, man. I want to know.
Yeah. Just I need to have a strong opinion. That's what it is. If my opinion's not too strong, I'm just kind of like, yeah, bro.
I honestly prefer it that way. It's more fun when we're like in a hype discussion, cutting each other off and everything.
Yeah. To my shock to your system, watch our if Wanda's a good villain debate, and you can see us cut each other off. So it's not just like, I'm just not complete yes man there if you feel that's what's happening here. But I believe that's about it. If we didn't reach your comment, we probably answered it, reply to it. But, let us know what your thoughts about this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Peace.